So 25 years ago, I was only a young person with very little experience in engineering such a complicated machine. So there was a person that used to do some of our marketing work way back in the day called Rex Bridges. There's an old business in Ballarat called Bridges Wade, and Rex was part of that business. Anyway, they did a lot of engineering bits and pieces over the years. Potato sorting equipment, you name it, Rex was involved with it. And just through that marketing collaboration, Rex decided to lend a hand, and we worked on the driveline a lot for the first year together, Rex and myself. And that's how we really got started with it, was getting a bit of old school know-how to help with some of those complicated tasks. So the very first machine that we built was quite small, so it was 177 horsepower and a 4,000 litre tank. And today the biggest machine we've made has got 260 horsepower and 8,000 litre tank and booms up to 48 metres wide. So really over the years the machines have just got, you know, the bigger capacity, wider booms, and a lot more comfortable than they used to be. So when we introduced the crop cruiser into the Australian market, one big point of difference that sets us apart from the imported machines is because we fully design the product in-house as well as manufacture it, we've got a lot of people that know in depth every last nut and bolt on the machine, how it works. So our field support staff are right across all, you know, if there's any issues and how to solve those. And we also carry all the parts. Because we build them, we have all the parts in stock, whereas importers have to rely on, you know, they can't carry everything. So I think that is a big point of difference. The crop cruiser has gone through a lot of advancements over the years, and if I sort of break it down into sort of some timelines as to when some major changes occurred. So, you know, when we released the first model in 1997, every model straight after that was a little different. The first big change, I guess, would be in 2010 when we fitted the class cabin to the sprayer. That was when people really started taking us seriously. It was a proper comfortable machine. In 2014, we also released a new model to the range which was called the G4, and that was really aimed at the cotton market, but has also found its way into some smaller farms. And then 2 years after that, in 2016, we released the G8. So that was the biggest capacity machine available at the time, and it sort of came out with a 48 metre boom a couple of years after its release. So by 2016 we had the G6, the G4 and then the G8 released, and we've still got those same three models today. So when we started building the first crop cruiser, the main design brief was really to figure out the drive system. So the little spray kit that we looked at, that was a mechanical drive with a chain driven sort of final drive leg, but all the other machines were hydrostatically driven. And so we need to decide which way we would go with that, whether we go mechanical or we go hydrostat. And at the time we decided mechanical would be probably the best road for us, because hydrostat was fairly new technology in the ag world. It was very hard to get the components in Australia, and so that really forced us to control our own destiny to go with the mechanical drive. When you decide to start manufacturing a self-propelled sprayer, the biggest challenge by far has been just trying to find the right suppliers for the components. You know, there's no other, you know, we're the only company in Australia making the self-propelled sprayer, and there's no tractors or anything made in Australia anymore. So all the supply has to come from, of specific components, comes from overseas. And so I've spent lots of hours on aeroplanes travelling around to different parts of the world, going to fairs, going to suppliers to see what sort of help they can give us. So that's been probably one of the major challenges. And then also as the machines have just become more and more sophisticated with all the electronics and hydraulic components on there, it's just the understanding how they all integrate together has been a big learning curve for us. Cummins, for example, have been with us right from the very start, and we've been able to use their know-how on how engines should perform, and all the engineering support behind the scenes there to help us make sure that our installations are done correctly to give many, many years of trouble-free service in the field. We can't sort of really emphasize how important that's been to use those suppliers to help us in those areas. When we first introduced the Crop Cruiser in 1997, our first customers were really just spray contractors, because the farmer wasn't big enough to be able to afford a self-propelled sprayer. So I would say 9 out of 10, every customer was a contract sprayer way back then. As the years have gone by, farms have got bigger. They've been buying out their neighbours and they've got bigger, and they've been able to justify a self-propelled sprayer. And so now I would say 9 out of 10 sprayers sold are going directly to private farms. And again, as those farms have got bigger and bigger, the machinery has had to get bigger to adapt to those as well. It's hard to believe that 25 years ago we built the first self-propelled sprayer. It was a pretty big punt for a little company like ourselves at the time, and really we wouldn't be here 25 years later producing what we're producing now if it's not for our, if it wasn't for our customers. So I guess it's a big thank you to all those customers that supported us over the years. The early years where it was quite interesting. It wasn't smooth sailing, but they persevered with us and we persevered with the product. And I think where we are today, we can be pretty proud as a team of what we've produced over the years. And we're looking forward to the next 25 years.